Hi, I'm Dwayne Pinto here in San Diego at the SCAI 2015 meeting. I'm joined by my friend and colleague, Dr. Thach Nguyen. He's the co-chair of the International Committee for SCAI and a member of the Board of Trustees. Welcome, Dr. Nguyen. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, I'm glad you have this time to speak with us about your work as part of the International Committee. I think let's start with one question of what kind of message is SCAI trying to bring to our colleagues outside of the United States?
Every year, SCAI sends faculties to many meetings outside the US. So the main question is, what kind of messages do we bring to these meetings? And there are three. Number one, we emphasize on quality. Number two, we talk about how to apply the guideline in real life. And number three, we talk about what we do are based on evidence-based medicine. This is the three key in the message we send to when we go to outside the U.S. meetings.
I think it's very valuable, these three kind of pillars of messaging from SCAI, and I think it's certainly something that we bring to our colleagues outside of the United States. But I've been fortunate to have gone and visited with you, and I recognize that I learn much more when I go on these trips than I feel like I'm teaching, because I have come to appreciate that our guidelines don't necessarily apply to all circumstances. Maybe you could build upon that, Dr. Nguyen.
Not in every country have the same resources and the same amount or same kind of resources. And all the time we have to do things cost effectively and time effectively. And so many procedures in the US can be very valuable and expensive, but can be very cheap in other countries. So to apply this guideline in the US, we have to do it because it is quality, it is evidence-based medicine. But when we have to apply this guideline in countries outside the US, so our colleagues in other countries, they show us how they do, how they can do best for the patient and best for the healthcare system in that country.
Yeah.
You see, this is what the message we have.
And I think, it's very important to understand the cultural circumstance, for example, for multi-vessel stenting, also the infrastructure that may be present in a certain country. And I think SCAI bringing expertise to many different areas is valuable. I give you the example of STEMI. In many places, the transportation infrastructure is not there, and patients may present later. And so the idea that primary angioplasty should always be done, there may be actually more interest in a pharmacoinvasive approach. Maybe you can give your experience in that regard with differences in STEMI systems of care.
I agree about that. The reason because, let's say for example, we have, I saw the problem in the Philippines, in Korea, in China, or in Vietnam. Then not every country can afford to have primary PCI for STEMI. So they have to do what best for the people. So thrombolytic therapy and then pharmacoinvasive strategy may be one of the best. Mm-hmm. The ambulance system in China, in the Philippines, or in Vietnam are very rudimentary, very basic. So to say that can the patient arrive to the hospital within 90 minutes, I don't think it can be feasible. This is the problem in many countries outside the US. So but all the time, when we go there, we say many things and we explain from our perspective. and then we expect them to look at the problem from their own perspective and improvise the strategy and design the strategy for their own country. We don't impose anything. We show what we see and we look what they do. You see? So this is what the
right.
play.
And it's remarkable to me too, things that we might take for granted in the United States, access to medicines, ability to come see your physician easily. Many patients find it very difficult to get their medications and may have to travel for hours just for an office visit.
It's true, and all the time we have to see, even in the US, we have a lot of resources, but we have to use it wisely. And we have to be sure that even in the US, our strategy are cost effective and time effective. And in Asia or in other countries, they have to use the resources wisely too. And this is why we go there, we see and we learn. Because I remember in 1995, when we did angioplasty for acute MI for the first time, the length of stay in the US was 5 days. And at that time, the paper from Japan came out and they said we could do for 2 days. At that time in the US, we had to send the patient home after primary angioplasty, no stent, for 2 days. Wow. In 2 days, you see? So this is why it is we appreciate what we saw and what we see outside the US. We appreciate what we can do here, but all the time we have to say, what else can I do better for my patient and for my country?
Yeah.
You see, this is the main message.
That's right.
From SCAI.
Well, Dr. Nguyen, how can, say, a member of the audience or another member of SCAI become more involved?
All the time, I like the SCAI team because everybody is very accessible. The leadership team here is very accessible. We can come and talk, and we need the help of everybody. Everybody should chip in and help to improve, to advance our thinking and our work to the US and to the countries outside the US. We are all friends and colleagues. This is why I say we welcome all the help, all the efforts, and all the thinking of everybody in this world, and everybody from the interventional cardiology community in the US and outside the US. Okay?
Thank you. Well, Dr. Nguyen, it's been very enlightening talking with you, and thank you for all of your hard work on behalf of SCAI and the International Committee, and thank you for joining us, and thank you for joining us here at SCAI 2015.
Thank you very much.